Hi, welcome to Cloud Cover. My name is Ryan Dunn.
And I'm Steve Marks.
This Cloud Cover is actually a special episode because we're here at Mix this week down in Las Vegas, and we're covering actually quite a few of the speakers who've been talking about Windows Azure or the platform in general. And what we're going to do for this episode is we're going to go around and we're going to find these speakers whenever possible, hopefully pull them out and talk to them. Now the thing that makes this a little bit different is that this show, by the time you see it on Friday, is going to be obviously well after the fact. Mix will have been ended. So you're going to be able to go online at live.visitmix.com, find those sessions, and actually watch them in their entirety and see exactly what these speakers who we're going to be talking about already talked about, or in some cases we'll just dig into some of the details that maybe they didn't get to in their talk. Now, one of our prestigious speakers at this event was none other than
Steve Marks.
Steve, how did your talk go?
It went great. I did a lap around the Windows Azure platform. So my talk was really about the entire platform, the whole cloud story for Microsoft, how all the pieces fit together. And what I tried to do with this talk that's a little bit different from how I've done this kind of thing in the past is I tried to give people more of the why is the cloud the way that it is?
Right.
What does it give you? Why do we have the pieces that we do, and how do they fit together? So I hope that if you're still curious about, just what is the story and where is this all going, I hope that my talk is something that will really help people understand it.
That's great. I actually saw your talk. I thought it was fantastic.
Front row, I saw Ryan there.
So last week I think I said best demo ever, and I'm going to still go with one of the best demos I've ever seen.
One of the best? Did you hear that? He just downgraded me from the best demo ever to one of the best.
Well, there's a lot of great speakers here at VIX this week, so
that's true. And
I don't want to slight anybody, but one of the best demos ever.
All right, thank you, Ryan. I'll take it.
Because the talk's already over, right?
Yeah.
That SVG application that did the zooming in and out, awesome. Are you going to release any of that source code?
I'm going to try to figure. There's a bunch of stuff in there that is just sort of hacky and work, for my purposes for the demo, but isn't really a general purpose thing. So I'm going to release some of the pieces though that are the more interesting ones, the Windows Azure pieces, not the SVG manipulation stuff, which is really
not to throw any work on your plate or anything like that, but maybe you could just do a blog post on at least the architecture of how that top works.
I actually put up a blog post this morning that you haven't read yet that gives a little tease of the architecture, but I'll follow up with a blog post that covers a little bit more.
So that's fantastic. And as always, you can interact with this show on Twitter at Cloud Cover Show. We have now 6 or 7 followers at least, and climbing rapidly. And we're doing a fantastic job of answering everyone's questions who has posted it to the show. We also take email. You can get us through either one of our blogs, smarks.com, blogs.smarks.com, or dunry.com. You'll find my contact information as well. Be happy to take questions or comments or anything like that.
Yep, just drop us a line.
Yep, and a little later in the show, after we talk to everyone, we'll actually be talking about our tip of the week this week, which has to do with troubleshooting, or I should say testing your service and your data access layer before you deploy.
Yep.
Quick tip, easy to do, and we'll be seeing you around. Thanks.
Hi, we're live. We're not live, but we're here at Mix for the Cloud Cover Show, and I'm here with Brad Calder, who is Mr. Windows Azure Storage. And Brad, what are you doing here at Mix?
Well, I'm going to give a talk on Windows Azure Storage, describe what we're providing for our data abstractions, and how to use them to build web applications.
Cool. Are you showing any nifty demos in your talk?
Yes, we just provided, back in February 1st, the availability of using drives for your VM applications to basically have a networks-attached drive to use NTFS APIs to go and make circles.
It's fine.
So we just provided the ability to cut that out. We just provided the ability.
He thinks we're going to edit this later.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we just provided the ability February 1st to use a network attached drive for your VM applications to use NTFS APIs to access a durable drive. Okay. So I'll begin the demo to show basically how easy it is to upload PHPs into the cloud, mount them in your application, and use them to basically access these durable drives.
So why would someone use a drive instead of just using blob storage?
Well, you might have a legacy application that is currently coded to use NTFS APIs. And so you basically want to allow the ease of migration of those applications into the cloud to use those APIs.
Cool. And your session, like everybody's session here at Mix, is going to be online after. It's, I think about 24 hours is what they're shooting for. So somewhere, probably by the time you see this, they will also be recording of Brad's whole session, and you can see if he delivered as promised on what he was going to talk about. And Brad, when did you actually get here into Vegas? Did you just get here today, or
got here last night?
You got here last night. What do you think so far? You've been hanging around at the Commons. What's kind of the vibe at Mix?
It's exciting. People, excited about developing web applications, using Windows Azure. Tons of questions. I just know storage. I send them to you for the more complicated questions.
Okay, great. And then I lie. I just make things up and I lie.
Is your demo going to be available after the talk?
Yeah, we're going to make the code available later after the talk. I have to still figure out where we're going to make it available.
All right. We'll
put it on Steve's blog.
Yeah.
You can put it on my blog. Yeah. Sure. All right. Cool. Well, thanks for talking to us, Brad. Let's go find somebody else.
Good luck with your talk.
Okay, thanks.
So you had a session at Mix this week, which was actually on Windows Azure Storage.
Yep.
In addition, you did the pre-con.
I did.
So, first of all, when you talk about Windows Azure Storage, what do you key in on for folks? What do you think the primary thing they need to
Well, so to me, Azure's the Windows Azure platform is all about scale, right? It's about scale and elasticity. How can I get my application really big? How can I get my application really big really quickly? And scale out is the way we typically do that. And scale out is usually based around this idea if you have stateless, homogeneous nodes and you just stack them out, put them in a rack and off you go. By definition, storage is not stateless. Right? So we have to come up with different approaches, and that really is a partitioning approach. So we spoke a bunch about sort of really deep dive into what it means to be partitioning in Azure Storage. What does it support natively out of the box? Things like Azure Table Storage has native partition support. And what do we do in terms of SQL Azure, which doesn't have native support, but it is actually really amenable to a partitioning strategy.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So if I was a Mix attendee, or I wasn't a Mix attendee, and I wanted to find out more about Windows Azure Storage, how to do partitioning strategy, and where the right pieces of data should go in my app, like choosing the right storage for my application, sounds like your session would be the place to check out.
Yeah, so it should be pretty good. So we talk about the choices between, say, SQL Azure, Windows Azure, how to use them together, where to use them together. I talk a whole bunch about pricing, because some of the pricing is actually quite counterintuitive. Right? There are some scenarios where you think, hey, Azure storage at 15 cents per gig would be much cheaper than SQL Azure at 10 bucks per gig. Well, actually, it's not quite the case. So you do need to do some modeling. I talk quite a bit about how you model some of those sorts of scenarios. And I'm going to throw some pricing models up on my blog site later this afternoon at www.syringe. It's like the needle you inject the doctors.net.nz, syringe.net.nz.
Is there any significance to
the subtitle is A Regular Injection of Opinion.
Ah, there we go. All right. Well, so this video is going to be going out, or likely on Friday. By the time that everyone sees this, your session is already in the can. I mean, it's going to be out on visitmix.com, and I think, in addition to your syringe site, I think it's well worth everyone's time to check out the data storage stuff. Unfortunately, I don't think they can check out the pre-con.
I don't know if the pre-con's video this time. The pre-con was really, I have a one-day deep dive architecture session, right? Let's not build Hello World, right? Let's talk about what it really means to build an Azure app. And I have sort of a one-day deep dive. We talk about dynamically loading types into separate app domains. So we talk about advanced partitioning strategies, asynchronous workload management. Don't know if you can watch the pre-con. If you can't, that content is going to be available soon. So it's going to be available for people to actually just download and look at soon.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll put a link up to your blog and obviously a pointer to your session. It was real good talking to you.
Oh, good. Thanks, man. Good to see you. I got to go and beat up Steve for his watch.
Hi, I am here with Clemens Vasters, who is Mr. App Fabric. And Clemens, you have a talk that is coming up in like a couple hours?
Yes.
So you excited for your talk? What's it about? What are you going to do?
I'm mostly nervous.
Mostly nervous.
Yeah, I'm mostly nervous because of the in very many ways how things can go fail in demos.
I'm experienced with that. What kind of demos are you doing? Are they scary?
I have 4 demos which are really scary. The first demo is a repeat, more or less, of the PDC demo, so that's going to be kind of boring, but with some depth connection to scenarios I'm going to be talking about. In the second demo, we're going to all play a game. So I built a little game for audience participation.
Well, that sounds cool.
And we're in Vegas, and so we're going to play a little game of bingo.
So if I come to your talk, can I become a millionaire?
No, you can't.
Okay.
But yes, but you
I'll
can
still
have
come.
the honors of winning.
Okay.
So how that's going to work is that anybody can come with their phone or computer or whatever, as long as they have an internet connection, they can play. So the game will deal a card. So you hit it will deal a card. The card has a message buffer associated with it.
Okay.
And so the card will now go and get the drawn numbers out of that message buffer. And it's a special new feature that we just brought to Mix in the labs environment, which is multicast message buffers. So the game engine sits inside of Windows Azure and drops a message, the drawn number, into the multicast event, and that gets then spread out into the message buffers. Now, the bingo game is actually very interesting for that because it needs to be timely. You want to be fair to everybody, and you need to be able to catch up. So when you join the game as the game is running, because the bingo engine is continuously playing games right now, so we're assuming that everybody's joining somehow during a game. So you need to be able to individually go and load up that queue for that client. So it's playing all the characteristics that we have, and it's using a long polling HTTP request. So traffic is going to be very low. I'm not going to be starving everybody's battery. So that's demo number 2. Demo number 3 is the same thing in Silverlight. The reason why I'm doing
Everything's better in Silverlight. You don't have to justify it. It's cooler when there's Silverlight. We understand.
let's put. Let me be honest.
Okay.
I'm a server dude.
Yeah.
I'm doing scalable server fabrics. I'm a protocol dude. So I'm doing all server stuff. Whenever I come pop back up in UI land, there's stuff that I know, like HTML, and I learned jQuery, and it was kind of understandable. Serverlite, I had a demo that I brought. I went to a session here at Mix, threw the demo away, and spent all time yesterday rebuilding that demo in my room because I was so embarrassed by my.
So if there's something that's going to go horribly wrong, it's probably the Silverlight thing. Is that what you're telling me? It's the one you wrote yesterday.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
It's also not entirely finished, but I'll gloss over this.
Okay.
And you'll see me glossing over this when you see the talk. And then the fourth demo is a little bit of a surprise. Shall I say it?
Well, no one was going to see this until after your talk is long over. So you can go ahead and...
All right, so the fourth demo is going to be running on the Android operating system by our great competitors at Google. And it's using a special version of Labs, which is using pre-release bits, where we're trying things out. So all the other 2 demos are using message buffers. This is going to use XMPP. So we're talking XMPP straight into Service Bus as a listener mechanism. And we're using the standard Java, the SMAC library from Jive Software, which has been patched up by a guy in Germany called René Treffer. And I've actually been working with him in the last 2 or 3 days to iron out some bugs that I had in our XMPP implementation and some issues.
I see. So this could be the most scariest one that you've been working on this for the past couple of days.
Yeah, so that is the scariest one I've done so far at the Microsoft Congress because I'm showing a no Microsoft code, Java only, out of the box kind of scenario, which connects up to Service Bus.
Very cool. Okay, well, you guys should all check out Clement's talk because it sounds like there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And you're going to be talking about this new lab stuff, which I think everybody wants to see, which is how we're going to push out some of these new features early so you can get access. Yeah. So, like all the talks, Clemens' talk will be online at visitmix.com shortly. Probably by the time you see this, it'll be online already. Thanks a lot, Clemens. Good luck with your talk.
Thank you.
I hope to come by and see it.
Okay.
Hi, Ryan Dunn here with Matt Kerner today. Matt is one of the program managers on the Windows Azure team, and I pulled him aside to give us a quick talk on what he's doing here at Mix this week. Matt?
Yeah, so I'm giving a talk on Silverlight in Windows Azure.
Silverlight, okay. So give me the skinny. What's different in Silverlight on Windows Azure than just Silverlight normal?
It's basically exactly the same thing. You can write an app for the web with Silverlight, you can run it on your own web server, you can run it in Windows Azure as well. The beautiful thing about running it in Windows Azure is you get the ability to scale way up, deploy in any sort of geo region that you want to, automatically manage the service to make sure that it's running and up and available. If a piece of hardware dies, it'll automatically relocate the loads to another place. So it provides all the sort of standard things that Azure gives you, and then you can have Silverlight, which provides this great sort of client experience. It's great.
So, are you going to be showing a demo application? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I'm showing a highly sophisticated demo application. The truth of the matter is, I'm not really a Silverlight expert. I know a little bit more about Windows Azure, so I'm going to show a very simple Silverlight app that I can write in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show that sort of in lots of different ways, running locally, running in the development fabric, and running in the cloud.
I know we have a lot of customers that are obviously interested in Silverlight, obviously interested in getting the best performance. What's kind of interesting here is we have what is essentially Windows Azure, our cloud platform. So you think about high compute, all these things running there. And then you have Silverlight, which the compute's really on the client.
Yep.
So in terms of where we place our business logic, is it a mix? Is it like we're putting everything now on the client, or are you still saying let's run our services in Windows Azure and the Silverlight's really the GUI, or what are your thoughts?
So I'll say two things. The first is you can play some tricks that can improve your performance when you're using Silverlight in Windows Azure. For example, you can serve your ZAP file and all of your media content out of blob storage, and if it's publicly accessible, you can use the CDN to serve it from the edge. So there's some things you can do to sort of speed things up right from the start.
Right.
And then as far as where the logic goes, it really depends on the nature of your app. If your app sort of manipulates data and that data is stored in the backend, you're probably going to have a service, whether it's ASP.NET or WCF running in the cloud, and your Silverlight app will talk to that. But if your app is sort of presenting data that already exists and it's a relatively static site, then it would make sense to just do a lot of stuff on the client side and use blob storage. And then you can have a role instance that you scale way up, just serving a really simple HTML that kind of directs people to the Silverlight bits, and then all the compute just runs in the browser, which is a nice model.
That is nice. Well, I'm excited to see your talk. Now you haven't actually given your talk. That's later.
I haven't. It's tomorrow.
So for folks who are watching this now, you probably heard already from Steve previously, but the talks are going to be available about 24 hours after they're actually given. So, given that this video is probably coming out on Friday, that means you're going to be able to see Matt's talk on Thursday. And any code and his presentations and slides and whatnot, you'll find actually on the Visit Mix site under his presentation. So, good luck.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
Take care.
sounds good.
All right, we are here still at Mix 10, and I'm here with Jim Nakashima, who is Mr. Windows Azure Tools. Right, was that a fair thing? And what were you doing? You had a talk earlier today, right? Which, for those of you at home, is like a few days ago or something. But how'd it go? What do you talk about?
Well, essentially, I really wanted folks who were attending the session to actually walk away being comfortable to feeling comfortable to open up Visual Studio and actually start developing Windows Azure. Have enough of the basics and understanding what's happening in the Visual Studio world to actually feel like, okay, I can now start developing.
Okay, so this was hands-on. There were some demos, right, where you're in Visual Studio.
Yeah, 3 demos. I did a demo of the new project creation experience, debugging, and then I migrated an existing app, the Nerd Dinner app from the professional MVC book, ASP.NET MVC book. Migrated that to run in Windows Azure.
Cool. Is there any code that you showed that you're gonna put online, or was it was too simple for that?
It was pretty straightforward. Most of it is about using Windows Azure. It wasn't
It's just
about
too easy.
writing code.
Once you've seen the video, and the video, like all the videos, is going to be online somewhere on visitmix.com. I don't know exactly where they end up. Content.visitmix probably sometime in the next day or so.
Yep.
So pretty cool. What do you think of Mix so far? Are there a lot of people interested in Windows Azure? What's the field? Are people using it? Are people curious about it?
Yeah, what's cool about Mix this year is Windows Azure is far enough along in commercial product that we're talking to a lot of customers that are using the product now. And they're like, hey, I'm running into this particular problem, and can you help me with this? And I'm using this as an architecture. What do you think? What's your feedback? Which is a lot different from previous conferences, which has been mainly around like, hey, what is Windows Azure, and what can I do with it, and why should I use it? So that's been like a really nice welcome change. Hope to see more of those moving forward in the future.
Cool, great. Well, Jim's talk will be online, and Jim also has a terrific blog if you are interested in Windows Azure stuff. It's called Cloudy in Seattle. What is it? Blogs.mscan.com/JNAK.
JNAK.
We'll put a link anyway.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk
thanks,
to us.
Steve.
Congratulations on your talk,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
we'll be in touch.
All right.
And we're back. This is our favorite part of the show, and I know many folks' favorite part of the show. It's time for the tip of the week. Now, this tip of the week, I'd like to see our logo, tip of the week. And let's do, what do you think?
Let's do the sound. We're in Vegas, so let's do the sound of a turkey winning at a slot machine.
Yeah, naturally.
I think that's what it is. Okay, so are you ready?
Yep.
It is now time for the tip of the week. Okay, again, hopefully everyone just saw a tip of the week logo and they heard a turkey winning at slots, which happens a lot. Turkeys are surprisingly good at slot machines. I don't know why.
True. Now, the tip of the week we kind of alluded to earlier was how to really troubleshoot your data access. And for that, I'm going to turn over to one of the preeminent experts on data access into the Windows Azure fabric in the world, if not next to me. Go ahead.
So this tip is really that people should test their stuff against cloud storage. So the typical phases that we tell people to go through are start by testing on the development fabric with development storage. So everything's local, it's all self-contained. You get full debugging power in Visual Studio and things. So it's sort of easy to figure out what's going on. Great for development and for testing. It's also really fast. There's no latency, things involved.
Right.
Okay, then eventually you want to be running up in the cloud with cloud storage, okay, where again everything's really close, got low latency. That's your sort of deployment scenario. In between, what I would really suggest is that people switch at some point from running against that local development storage, start running against the cloud even while they're still using the development fabric. So basically just create that storage account just like you're going to, update all the config settings to point to production storage in the cloud, but run locally in the development fabric. This way you tease out anything that goes wrong in that process, like, oh, I forgot, I created the table, but I forgot to do it in my storage account in the cloud. Things like that, and you can do it while you're still running locally so that you get very easy debugging in Visual Studio. So there's a little tip here that makes this even easier. So hopefully I've sold everyone on the idea of you should run locally but against cloud storage before you go deploy. A way to make sure that you're doing it right, and you didn't miss a config setting or something like that, is to go into the properties of your cloud project, your Windows Azure application project. So you just sort of right-click on the node that represents the whole cloud project, go to properties, and in there's a setting for whether to use development storage or not. And if you say no, don't use development storage, it won't automatically launch the development storage, and so you can just shut down DevStore, you can set the setting in Visual Studio, and that way when you press F5 and run, you can't possibly be accidentally talking to local storage. You'll definitely be talking.
So if you missed a connection string somewhere, you're going to catch it here because there's no chance dev storage is actually running.
Exactly, because it's not even running, so it's a much easier way.
I think the other part of this that some people might not think about is not only is this a great thing to do when you're developing your first app, which is, I'm going to test it against cloud storage, but if you have an existing app that's already up and running, it's always possible to point the code base that you're in control of it and actually hook it up locally and point to that cloud storage. Now, not in all cases will this work, but in a lot of cases it will. You're able to attach using that data and debug locally. So it's a quick and easy way to actually get visibility into it without having to rely on trace messages or something like that. You can just attach what is local and debug using the standard Visual Studio tools.
Exactly. So that's our tip of the week, and with that, I guess this will do it for this week's show that we're doing here from Mix. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to send us a message at Cloud Cover Show on Twitter, and until next time, I'm Steve Marks.
I'm Ryan Dunn, and we'll be at the slot machines, or in Steve's case, what you like, Baccarat? What is it?
Yeah, no, I like Crazy for Poker Play Out. I played with a bunch of turkeys.
I like War, actually.
War's a good game.
See you until next week. See you next.
See ya.